So today we're going to talk about how to mail out postcards, how often, and should you put your website on your mail pieces? That's the topic of today's show. But before we get into today's listener question, and by the way, awesome job sending those in. If you have not been to our website, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. What are you waiting for? You got to go there and download the very same script that we use in our real estate business, the script that's been responsible for locking up over 1,300 deals in our real estate business and tens of thousands of deals across the country. So go ahead. It has the same exact script that we use, word for word, tone for tone, line by line. So go there, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script and download yours today. So let's go ahead and jump into today's question.
Hey, this is Santiago. So I just want to make sure I got this right. So when we pull a list from to mail, this is a direct mail list, tax default, code violations, water shutoff, we mail those every 6 weeks, but we split them up into weekly increments. So let's say we have, 1,000, we're sending out roughly 250 every week.
So Santiago, great question. I know you threw a lot at me. You threw a lot at me there, right? And I think the most important thing here is do not overcomplicate this. Okay, do not overcomplicate this. Let me tell you how my mailing used to be when I first got started and how it was amateur hour. So that may help. So what happened was when I first got started, I used to pull a list and I used to like mail the entire thing at one time. And then the calls used to come in and I used to wait for a deal. I'm like, okay, motivated seller, where are you? And I'm running all over the place, like desperately trying to see if I'm going to make my money back from this mailing campaign before I invest in the next one. And man, let me tell you, this will lead to the roller coaster of roller coasters. All right. You're going to spend that money and the emotional capacity and energy that it's going to take, you're going to be like desperate to do a deal. Because that's the way I felt, and I did it. And so then all of a sudden now, we locked up a deal or two under contract, we're feeling good, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh my gosh, where are the leads? And the leads would dry up. And then we had to call and order the mail, and then it was like 3, 5, 7, 10 days before it hits again, all this dry time. And then 3 weeks later, we're like, why is there dead space? Duh, right? It's because I was running my business like a complete and total amateur. When I figured this out, the game totally changed. So what you need, Santiago, is a marketing calendar. Marketing calendar is simple. It's a Google spreadsheet. It's an Excel spreadsheet. It's a pad. It's a whiteboard. I don't care what it is. Do not overcomplicate this. It has dates, okay, starting with a Monday that you are going to mail. So week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8, all the way for week 12 for every quarter. Okay, every quarter, that's how I'm going to recommend that you do this. 12 weeks. Then what I want you to do is I want you to pull all of your mailing prospects, your entire universe, the tax default, the code violations, the foreclosures, the probates, the pre-probates, the evictions, the driving for dollars, whatever it is that you're using, right? Could be the owner-occupieds, the non-owner occupied, whatever this is, you want to pull them all and say, okay, I've got a list of 25,000 people, 35,000 people, 50 or 100,000 people. I don't care what it is. It's going to depend on your town, right? Your metropolitan area. And then what I want you to say is, okay, I want to mail these people preferably every 6 weeks. So I want you to try to break those lists up every 6 weeks, right? And so if you do that, you're going to mail them approximately every, twice a quarter. Okay. Obviously that's rough, but we're looking every 6 weeks. Okay. So twice a quarter. So you want to hit that list twice every quarter. It's going to be on the list 6 weeks apart. Now you may say, Todd, this is too much, right? Fine. Then start cutting lists. So I would cut the ones that have had the lowest response rate or the ones that you don't know, but stick with a list. Now, if you want to mail everything and there's certain lists that do better, fine, right? Do certain lists once a quarter and do others every 6 weeks. The key here is get it out, right? Put it on a schedule. The highest performing ones, make sure you're doing every 6 to 8 weeks at a minimum, right? The ones where they do okay, but you're still pulling deals, mail those once a quarter. Simple as that, right? Put it on a schedule and don't overcomplicate it. I can tell you this, that every market is going to be different. The data is pulled differently. The age of the data is going to be different. So you got to test, you got to keep an eye on your numbers, but you got the key here is consistency, month after month after month after, week after week after week. So that being said, get a schedule and that's it. All right. That being said, let's listen to the second part of the question which Santiago sent in. Go ahead.
One more quick question. On that postcard, I've heard mixed deals from, gurus and stuff that some of them put their website address on their direct mail piece and some don't. Heard different opinions on that. What is your take on that?
So Santiago's asking, should he put his website on his mail piece, right? On his letter or on his postcard? So I'll give you the short definitive answer, and then I'll give you another answer that's going to give you some accountability here and you get to use what you've learned in the first part of this. The short answer to that is I don't particularly like to put websites on the postcard or the letter. Why is that? Because I am looking to generate a phone call. I want to get a phone. I want that person's phone number. I want their data so that I could follow up with them month after month after month. If you have if you give someone a website, they have an excuse not to call. So they can go to a website and not fill out information, not call you or not fill out a form. And now you've lost that lead. So I like to give people one option. A confused mind says no. I like to take a funnel and I like to shoot them as fast and as hard through that funnel. So that's my short answer. If you're just getting started, I would not put my website on the card. So that being said, Santiago, if you are using a marketing calendar, it's okay to try different mail pieces, right? So if you're hitting one particular list, let's say 8 times a year, hey, hit them with a phone number 6 times, right? But maybe 2 times, try a postcard and put your website on it. Test it. Because the most important thing is that you are constantly testing and innovating and making stuff happen. Let me give you one other little advanced tip. And that is if you are putting your website on the postcard, make sure you use something called retargeting. What is retargeting? It's paid advertising that will follow your website visitors around the web if they've been to your website. So I don't know if you've ever been shopping on Amazon or a different website. And then all of a sudden, if you've been on Facebook, it seems like that very same thing that you were looking at, the ad's like just following you around. You're like, oh, how did they know that? That's something called a cookie. So, this is not Sesame Street, Cookie Monster. It is basically they're tracking you. And so you want to now turn the tables, and everyone who visits your website, make sure that you set up what they call retargeting, or you are cookieing your visitors so that you could follow up with them. So to summarize, the short answer is I don't particularly like to put the website on my postcard. I want them to call. However, if you are mailing someone over a course of a year and you're being consistent with that, if you want to throw in 2 postcards with your website on them and try that and see how it works, but then you're also setting up retargeting on your website, hey, I've got no problem with that. Great question, Santiago, by the way. Really, really, really enjoyed that. I'm going to summarize here, though, and it's really important that you don't get caught up in the, ooh, what do I mail? And how often do I mail them, right? It is, number one, get a Google Sheet or a spreadsheet or an Excel spreadsheet or a whiteboard or a pad and write out your weeks for every quarter, okay? Break down a mailing every single Monday. The key is consistency. Do not do the roller coaster, okay? Do not do the I'm going to mail when I feel like it or I'm going to mail when I've got a deal under contract. Even if you have to break it into small increments, okay? Slow and steady will win the race. If you're mailing out 1,000 postcards a week, you're going to do deals. 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000 over, a 12-week period. That's going to be 12,000 postcards. At the very worst, it's going to be $6,000. You should be paying probably close to $4,000 or $5,000. So yes, it's an investment for a quarter for 1 quarter of the year. That's a long time with a lot of mailings, and the leads are going to be very, very, very consistent. So do not forget that. Don't get obsessed with the list. You can massage that as long as you got a plan, right? Do the better lists more often. The ones that don't perform as well, not as often. If it doesn't perform at all, and I didn't mention this, but if it's not performing at least 4 times your investment, get rid of it. Okay. I know some people who go down as low as 3. If you're in the 2s, light it on fire. Do not mail that list. You will go completely broke. All right. So I don't like to do anything less than 4. Absolute minimum is 3. So you're really shooting for 3 or more times your investment, preferably 4. So that'll also help you shrink your list to the top performing list. Finally, on the website, I don't like to put my website on the postcards, but if you are mailing every quarter, you could test it. Let me know how it goes. You can email Brett, support at No Limits Real Estate Investing if you're using that, and let us know any cool new marketing tricks or if you've got an idea for the podcast. And by the way, if you are like Santiago, you want to send in your question, email support at nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com. You could send in your question, and maybe we will answer it on the podcast. Don't forget to download the script at nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script, and I will talk to you on the next episode.